Riley and I am 21 year old. So in today's video, I would like to share with you guys my pregnant and married to a 31-year-old at 19 story. So let's begin. So here's some background story. Right after high school, I did not go to college right away. I went to Pennsylvania by myself. I just worked there and rent an apartment there by myself. I was thinking I could save up some money and go to college there, but obviously that did not work out now. So how we met, he was actually my boss cousin, and he will occasionally come to the store sometimes, but we wouldn't talk or anything because he's just a quiet guy, and I thought it would be so awkward for me to just go up and say anything for real, like business unrelated. Anyway, so how exactly we got to know each other was he was actually my neighbor. Like, I rented an apartment and it was like 2 floors, and then I lived in the 2nd floor and he lived in the 1st floor, which is weird. It was not a coincidence because I got that apartment through my boss' help, because I was only 18, and how do you get an apartment by yourself if you have no records of finance or anything before? So I got it through my boss' help, and he was there, so he got it through his cousin's help. So I lived in the upstairs and he lived in the downstairs, but we still wouldn't talk or anything. How exactly we started talking was one day I was eating pizza in this pizzeria like across from our house, and I was just munching my sandwich or pizza and staring outside the window occasionally, and then I saw him in his pajamas, like looking very casual, and then he was running towards the pizzeria, and I was like it was in the middle of the day, so why wouldn't you get dressed up and stuff? So he came in and then he ordered his food like really quickly, and he just walked out without saying hi to me or anything. And then when he came back to pick up his food, he was actually dressed up, and he actually wore a necklace, which I later found out was very hilarious because he was trying to impress me. So after he picked up his food, he just sat down, and he just sat down right in front of me without my permission. He just sat down, and then he just started the conversation about like, where are you from, what's your name, like how old you are, all that stuff. But at the time I did not know he was 31-year-old. Well, at the time he was 29. He was 29-year-old, and I didn't ask him because I thought he looked so young, and we just started talking and became friends. So after that we had more interactions. He was really, really nice, and like we would go do laundry together, and he would just pay for my laundry. Like, I didn't want him to, but he just insisted, and he would like pick up my laundry and all that stuff. He was just trying to impress me. So after a while I actually did get impressed, and I actually liked him. And one day I just asked him, hey, do you like me? And he was like, yes. And I was like, oh, why don't you say anything? Like, why did you? He was like, because I don't have to. And I was like, okay. And then he still didn't ask me to be his girlfriend that day, and he just asked me my phone number. So I gave him, and I don't know why you need my phone number. We're living in the same house, but still he just asked my phone number. And sometimes we would text, and mostly we just hang out more because we were neighbors, so it's very easy to go find him or find me. And that's how we became closer and closer. So after we became girlfriend, boyfriends, we just started living together. We started our life as a couple. Oh, what's really funny is I found out my boss was actually the one who tried to get us together. So he would say good things about me to my boyfriend behind my back, and he would say good things about him to me at work. So we actually have a lot of good impressions about each other, and it was just about time, like when we will actually get together. After that, we just started our life as a couple. We moved in together and everything just changed. Like, you're not just one person anymore. You're actually two people trying to change for each other. You're trying to fit in for each other. I mean, in the beginning it was hard, but eventually it became easier and easier. So once that process became easier, it just means that you guys are the one for each other. And that's kind of how we felt for each other. So we decided that maybe it was time for us to have a baby, because he was actually 29 and it was time for him to be a dad. And it was kind of early for me, but at the time, honestly, I just felt like, I could do it. It's not something I can't accept if I love that guy. So we actually went on to get our marriage certificate, and we did not have an actual ceremony because at the time, like I said, I was in a bad relationship with my parents. Like, we barely talk, and I just didn't know like who I would invite to my wedding. It's just weird. And for him, it just about time for him to get married too. Like, it's not about time. It's really not about like how old you are. You don't have to be married at a certain age or have a baby at a certain age, but it was just both of us feeling like we wanted to have a baby so we could actually form a family of our own, so we wouldn't be feeling like, I feel so lonely because my parents don't love me. Well, that's actually me. But for him, it was actually just like because he loved me and he wanted to have a family of our own. So we just decided to have a baby, and we actually went out to get our marriage certificate at Maryland. Yeah, we went to Maryland to get our marriage certificate, and after that it just says that we're married. We're an actual couple now, wife and husband. So we just let it be. We didn't use protection when we're doing the thing, and we just let it be. We felt like whenever it comes, it comes. So that's when we had the baby Austin. After I got pregnant, his side of family knows, but my side of family doesn't. And it was because I felt like I didn't want to let them know, because I was afraid that my parents or anyone in the family would try to convince me to get an abortion, because I was still only 19. I had a bright future in front of me. Like, why would I why would I do myself like that? I was just afraid. And I didn't tell them until I was like 8 months pregnant. And that was only because I couldn't hide it anymore. Like, when I FaceTime my grandma, she would ask me, hey, why did you gain so much weight? Why did you have necklines? And I was like, I can't answer. Like, I was just like, I gained some weight. And she was like, I don't know, stand up and let me see. And I was like, oh, stand up. Well, she was seeing my belly. So I was just like, hey, grandma, I'm pregnant. And she was like, I knew it. Because at the time, I actually did tell my grandma and my aunts that I had a boyfriend. They just didn't know that I was pregnant. So that's how my side of family found out about my pregnancy. I know it's that's really disrespectful of me, but I have my reasons, and I don't want to have a lot of negative comments during my pregnancy. That's what I hated from them. And yeah, so now everyone knows, and my parents actually accepted everything, and they love baby Austin. So that's the greatest thing ever in the world for me. My wedding plans, I just feel like I need some more time before an actual big wedding, because that's what I wanted. I wanted it to be fancy, and I want everyone to come, like from my family and his family. And I just feel like right now we don't have the energy, time, and money to do all that. So I just feel like we should wait until our kids are older. And yeah, so stay tuned. And yeah, that's it for my pregnant at 19 story. And if you like it, please give me a thumbs up. If you don't, well, you can always give me a dislike or leave your comments to let me know what you think. Mwah.